Goodness. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and you are on the lifeboat, and I am still chewing food. I apologize for that. Trying to get a lot done, people. Multitasking like you wouldn't believe. And by that, I mean just running around. The people, excuse me, I would like to thank everybody that has taken the time to get one of the shirts. I am, sorry people, I just have to get this set up real quickly and then I promise I won't look at it again. When you do a shirt campaign and you do it through one of these companies that simply does they print everything up, they do the delivery, they take over everything. All we do is send them what we want on the shirt. And that's a real benefit in terms of making this easy on the skipper, because honestly, this is, as I've said before, not my strong suit by any stretch of the imagination. So I got all of that set up and handed that over, and they say, if you do not get 5 orders, then the campaign never goes off. And you don't know how this is going to go. I've never done anything like this, people. This is all so brand new to me. I'm not a YouTuber, and I'm not a social media guy, or I guess I should say I wasn't. I'm most assuredly a YouTuber now, for better or for worse. I am a YouTuber. That is definitely what I have become. So, but I've never done anything like this. The T-shirt and the sweatshirt stuff. I've never done this. So I was hoping that we would get the 5 orders, to make sure that the campaign at least went off. We got 15 orders in about the first 25 or 30 minutes that the campaign was up. The number of people that are buying shirts and doing things is it's incredible. And it just shows that, everybody has sort of taken ownership of this. And, that makes me feel, I can't tell you how good that makes me feel, really. So this is the 3 o'clock call on the weekends. And this call is put in place for those people who have a difficult time getting onto the calls that we do at 9 o'clock normally. Saigon Cinnamon says, never quit quitting, baby. I have entitled this live feed today, Quitting. And the reason is a couple of things, people. There are some things that I'm going to quit. The first of which is, I'm sorry to say, he says, I've tried using my credit card to place an order this time instead of PayPal. We'll see how that goes. Okay, let me know how that goes. If it's a problem, we're going to figure it out. I don't care what country you're in, you're getting the shirt. If I got to swim it over there on my back, bro, you're going to get the shirt. I'm not going to let anything happen. Hey, 357, good to see you. People, this is going to be the last of the live feed calls where I'm trying to read in any way, shape, or form anything that is going on in the comment section. I've got some people who are going to be in place that, and I love you too, Alan, from the bottom of my heart. I really do. Chris, it's good to see you as well. This is going to be the last time that I try to read the comment section, plain and simple. And the reason is, embarrassing, but we're just going to do this because it's, where do I order a shirt? Sorry, I missed that. Okay, when you go to, you're here on the channel, right? On the very top, there's a banner. On the very far right-hand side of that banner, it says About. If you click on where it says About, things are going to drop down and it's going to show you a bunch of links. You'll know which link it is because it says Saigon Sea t-shirt or Saigon Sea merchandise or some such stuff. And you click on that and that will allow you to place an order there. The other thing you can do is whenever you see the title of a video, there's a drop box, right? You people know this. You hit that little arrow and the thing drops down and it tells you all the links to all of the different stuff. It's got on there I think it has the link to the Safe Harbor over at Facebook. It's got the donate thing and it's got, and then it will have the Saigon Sea link on there as well. You just click onto the link that will take you directly over to Bonfire. And then Bonfires are they do the fulfillment for the merchandise. And people, we wanted to get the first shirt out there. That was an important thing to us. We really wanted to get out there, and Bonfire bent over backwards to do it quick and to help us. But in the future, I'd obviously like these to be less expensive. The reason that we moved it from here to the back was to save you guys like between $7 to $10 per shirt, depending on which shirt it was. And I'm not comfortable with you guys paying an absolute fortune for anything. It's not really what I want to have happen. So, but in the meantime, we wanted to get this first one out, and the people the haters are already talking about me trying to get rich. People, I got to buy the shirt the same way you do. This is a campaign. Right? This isn't me buying shirts for $2 and selling them for whatever the case may be. And to be really honest with you, I'm going to lose my tail on it, because there's some people that I'm going to be helping out along the way. Mike Hepner, my goodness, Mike, it is so good to see you. Mike Hepner is a friend of the family. I'm really happy that you had a chance to get on here, Mike. So people, as I was saying, I am going to get to a point here where I am not going to be in the comment section during live feeds. The purpose of the live feeds, we've talked about this ad nauseum, but the purpose of the live feeds is not, it really isn't about the interaction between me and you. It's about me sitting up here and talking for an hour, so that there's a component of a chat room, kind of a setup, where the people on the boat get together and meet one another and say hello. Joe Birdwell, so glad you're here. Joe, I know you're feeling the response from last night, but I'll get to that in a minute. So it's really so that you people can get to know one another. And the importance behind that is this. I don't entertain people. I'm not here to entertain people. What I do on YouTube is so different than what other people do. What I'm trying to do is help people get sober, and it's working, right? The number of people right now who are talking about their sobriety dates and how long they've been clean, and how long those dates completely coincide with how long that the lifeboat has been up and running. It's working, people. And it's not working because of what I'm doing. 1 second here. It's Tommy. Great idea, finding someone on the boat that has the equipment. Partner up with them or get the stuff yourself. It'll cut out costs, and you control every aspect. I'm going to take that one step further, and I'm just going to acquire all of the equipment necessary to print myself. I'm going to get the t-shirt stuff. I'm going to do all of that. And then I'm going to hand it off to Jack. Jack is actually an artist. You guys will be seeing some of the stuff that Jack does, but Jack is an amazing, amazing artist. And, I was complaining, as I often do when you people can't hear, that, YouTube's fun. I'm having a really good time, but this is what I have fun doing. I hate every other aspect of it. I really do. The interaction between me and you guys, and telling the stories and doing the interviews and then reading the goodbye letters, focusing on people getting sober is really what I want to do. I don't want to do anything else. I know that probably sounds juvenile, but there are aspects that I have to do because they coincide with sobriety. For instance, 1,600 emails in a month that need to be answered. Now, there are people who are going to go, he didn't answer my email. If your emails are just fun, if you're sending me an email to tell me that you got a picture of your cat or whatever the case may be, I'm not picking on anybody. I love it, send it. But there are priorities, and a lot of times it's very easy to tell those priorities by the subject matter. And if I get a subject matter that says, "Man, I'm about to do heroin again," I'm going to take time and I'm going to answer that email, and I'm going to spend a lot of time with that person because that was my life, and I understand that. We're in the same boat. But the emails, things like that, that's all a necessity. Even setting up, right? People, I can't stress enough how much Mark does for this channel. If you've done an interview, Joe Birdwell can tell you. At 5 minutes to 6 last night, Joe gets his link, I get my link. That doesn't mean that we just threw a switch. That means that for the last 45 minutes, Mark has been setting all of this up and doing all of this work behind the scenes so that I can sit down in front of this camera and just start talking. And, right in the beginning, Mark said to me, and I'm just being honest, and this was the conversation, but Mark said to me, you're really good in front of a camera. You're relaxed, and this seems like it's where you like to be. It's where you're comfortable. And, you can play to the camera as if it's a person, or the crowd, and that just really, works. And I said, thank you. I really appreciate that. And then he went on to say, but you stink at everything else. Yes, Mark is awesome, Joe. There is no two ways about it. But yeah, he was just brutally honest. He said, I don't think you're very good at the rest of it. And I'm not. I'm not. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm really, really bad at what I do. I mean, Arizona Raven says, Charles and everyone I missed. Joe, my power went out last night. Long story. Watched this morning. You know what? Doesn't matter when you watch it. By the way, Raven. Raven? Told you. So, yeah, so Mark took over. And, when you see the thumbnails or you see any of the things that we're doing that is making the boat look more professional, that is all Mark. And I am getting to the point, LB Loxley, good to see you, my brother. I'm getting to the point where I'm learning to delegate so that I am going to be able to just do what I do. And ideally, that is going to be bringing stories to the world. Not so much me doing, 30 to 40 minute instructional videos on different aspects of sobriety. Those will continue to happen because there are things come up that need to be addressed, and I do want the nuts and bolts to be out there. And the truth is, even if I have enough videos to explain all of the nuts and bolts, new people who come on are not going to watch them. They, every once in a while you get somebody that goes back and watches every single video that you ever did. But when there's 100 of them and it's just, let's be honest, there's no car crash and gas fire, right? And I'm not doing challenges with the exception of the Systroming. I'm not doing something that's going to make you laugh. I'm not going to do something that makes you gasp. I'm just talking about nuts and bolts stuff for sobriety. And, for someone to watch every one of my videos as I'm doing them, that's great. We built a relationship and you show up and you watch and, hey, Tommy, you loved the last video? Like that kind of thing works. But if you became a subscriber to the channel today and went and started on the first video, it would take you a week or two. And I'm talking about putting time in. You would have to deep dive. Tommy, when we are behind the wall, technology changes fast. I was lost when my son started school. You understand that when he is referring to behind the wall, it's a reference to the time in prison. It's crazy, Saigon, because when I went away, I did 2 prison sentences basically back to back. I was out for a year and a half or whatever and got the gun charge. First it was bank robbery and then it was guns. So I went back to prison. But when I was out, I had what was it? It was I want to say like an iPhone 6, right? Something like that, 6S. And so when I got back out after 7 years, I said, well, I'll just get an iPhone. And boy, it was like I had never picked up a phone. For real. And the embarrassment, I think, is one of the things that kills us. One of the reasons that the boat is so fantastic is that, one of the reasons that the boat works the way it does is because we are literally all in the same boat and we don't pick on, one another for any of the things that, that we do. And you're not made to feel like, I don't know, that you're less than anything. We're very, very accepting here. But I'll tell you what, you want to feel like you are not accepted? Go into a phone store, even an Apple one, where they're supposed to have the Apple bar and everybody's there to help you, and just, ask a question that they don't think is intelligent. And they roll their eyes at you. They look at one another like, I'm telling you, I walked out the door and just said, I'm going to learn this on my own. I'm not going to have somebody sit there and make me feel like I'm stupid, because... And but what I've learned, Saigon, is that like with the T-shirts, and I'm working with the people over at at Bonfire, and I'm struggling. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm really going through it. I'm having a very hard time. And she said, this is really it's very simple. If you do this, and I went, hold up a sec. I said, all right, here it is. I'm a convicted bank robber. I just got out of prison. I did a very long time in prison, and I am absolutely inept when it comes to all things. Computer. So not only, you're going to tell me right now that the site is really simple. I'm here to tell you I am more simple than that site. And then I went on to say, so what I'm going to do is just go into a brick and mortar place where I can talk to somebody and I can point at things and I can say this, this, and this. And this girl, Savannah, I was not nice to her people. I don't curse, and I'm not one of those, you know what I mean? I don't go off on people and treat them like idiots or like they're, bad people, but I get snippy, we all do. And I wasn't particularly nice to her. And, she said to me, Mr. Scoville, if you take a deep breath, I will do all of this for you. You just need to tell me exactly what needs to be done, and I will do it all. And which is why people are buying shirts right now. That's awesome. It really is. Brian Michael says, does anyone watch intervention clips to take kind of a look at how you were when you were at your worst? You know what? I have a real issue with intervention. As a show. It's a love-hate relationship. It really is. I like watching intervention, but depending on what the drug of choice is, that show can be a trigger. It really can. When I got out, it was 2008, and I had the girl at the Best Buy set my phone up and ask what apps I'd like. I didn't know what she was saying because the last I knew, MySpace. Didn't know what an app was. Or yeah, you get the last thing that you remember was MySpace. MySpace to me is the Betamax of I'm an old man, and we used to joke about Betamax because Betamax was there for such a short period of time, but I feel like MySpace is the Betamax of the younger generation. People, a really huge and disgusting bug is crawling on my window, and I can't tell if it's on the inside or the outside of my window. But you know what happened the last time I walked off or bent down off camera, right? I really can't. I want to kill this thing or at least get it out of my house. But what I don't want is for all of you to think I'm doing a keg stand, a bong hit, or a line, or maybe fixing. You people won't. It was somebody else. Hold 1 second. It is in my house. It is big and it is green and it's a little bit too much for me to just kill. I'm not happy with it. I'm tempted to pick this up and let you look at it, but I don't like bugs. I like them better than spiders, but I do not like bugs. Something, people, you may not believe this, but this is the truth. I have a friend, and I will tell the stories about this guy at some point, but I have a friend who's dead, and we made infomercials together, and we did some telephone rooms and sold business opportunities and did some other things, but and on a big scale. I mean, like $50-60 million in 13 months kind of sales rooms, big campaign kind of stuff. And he and I did, we did a publicly traded company together. We just did one deal after another. So for probably about 15 years of my life, we worked constantly, together side by side. And one day he said to me, "We've got some people that want to pitch us on a business opportunity." And I said, "We sell business opportunities." He goes, No. This is an opportunity just for us." And I said, "All right, what are we looking at?" And he said, "Well, I don't know. They're coming in from Japan." So they speak perfect English. We get into a boardroom and we sit down, and they pulled out a phone and they started to show us this phone, which was a predecessor kind of to a smartphone. It wasn't a smartphone, but it was definitely an early version of what was to become a smartphone. And they start laying all of these things out, and they say, well, there are these different things that you're going to have be able to do on the phone, and they're called apps. Now, at this time, I have a Motorola flip. I mean, not a Motorola. Yeah, a Razr. I have a Motorola Razr. I think it was Motorola. But yeah, the Razr flip phone, which was high tech, by the way. And they proceeded to show us a video game that I don't believe was called Angry Birds at the time, but it was the equivalent of Angry Birds, or it was a beta version of it, and they hadn't named it yet. But so they're showing us these things, and they're explaining to us that in Japan, they're 7 years ahead of us in terms of technology. And, so coming to the United States and doing what they were doing was because they know what's going to happen here in the United States. And they went on to predict that adults all over the United States will be playing video games, right, on their phones. And they're going to be downloading these things, these applications, so that they can play more video games. And these applications are nicknamed apps. And he goes through and does the entire presentation. And as he's talking the whole time, his partner basically stays silent until the very end, at which point he says, "We're looking for about $5 million in backing. And we believe that we can launch into the United States and take over for all intents and purposes before it even starts, get a foothold in the whole app game within the United States of America." So through this, couple hours of presentation, Rex, my friend, and I went like this. Okay, all right, the video games, yeah, these are apps, called apps. So we'll get back to you. Give us a couple of days to think about this. And they walked out of the room, and Rex looked at me and went, "You gotta be kidding." He started laughing. He goes, "Adults are gonna be playing video games." He said, "Commuting on the way to Wall Street, they're gonna be playing video games." I said, "Yeah, these guys are idiots, right? How stupid. That may fly over there, but that is never gonna happen in the United States." And we were in a position to, one of the other great decisions I made in life, but we opted not to go into the whole app game, because these applications that you were going to have on your phone, we just did not believe for a hot second that could be something that people would be interested in. And here we are today, right? But people, it's the world is a story of opportunities that people either take or they don't take, right? That's sort of the nature of life in itself. You know what Amway is, right? People will pick on Amway until the end of time. Oh, your friends and neighbors trying to sell you soap and whatever. I'm, it has nothing to do with this story. Whether you think it's the biggest scam in history or whether you think it's a great thing, has nothing to do with this story. But there were 13 people who heard the original presentation for Amway. They went into a basement and 13 people heard the presentation. 12 of them signed up. Would you like to be the 13th that didn't? Because what they did is there are 12 legs that come off of that company, right? Each one of those, Raven says, I sold Amway. Well, there are 12 legs that came off of the company originally. And of those 12 people, original people that got in there, they make in the 20 to 30 million dollars a month range. A month, right? Say what you will about Amway, it is the largest privately held company in terms of sales and net worth. If I'm misquoting that, I'll get it right for you on the next one. They are the largest privately held in some metric. They are absolutely huge. The DeVos family is. Oh yeah, it's a pyramid. And here's the thing with the pyramid stuff. You're right, because but everything is a pyramid. You know what I mean? The federal government is a pyramid. Everything is a pyramid. What a pyramid scheme is really different. And this is I only know this because I did a lot of business opportunity sales. Not like that, but we created business opportunity infomercials and commercials and had back end sales for telemarketing rooms. But the point is, what a pyramid, what a money pyramid is there's no product. So you say, look, you go get $200 and bring me $200 and four people, and four people come with $200, and that moves you to the next level, right? Then they need to find two people, and it continues to go until you are the top person on the pyramid. And when you hit there, you take all of that money, it all goes to you, and the next person in the pyramid goes up. The difference between a pyramid scheme and a multi-level marketing scheme is, in multi-level marketing, there is a product that gets delivered to the end user. Avon, another multi-level marketing company. There are so many multi-level marketing companies on the planet, it is astounding. But the reason that I was bringing it up is opportunities. Whether it was me having a shot at sort of locking down Brian Michaels, listen, let me say this. He says, I enjoyed the interaction between the captain and the crew on live streams. I'm sad this is the last time. No, I got sidetracked because I saw a couple of names come in. Let me explain this better, okay? This is the last time I'm going to be doing this, okay? This is the last time I'm going to be doing that number. It's not the last time I will be interacting with crew. I am eliminating this part of it. So what you will see is this, right? And when there are going to be, for lack of a better way to think of it, call screeners, right? And I will get a call screener will send over questions. One of the problems is this. I'm not trying to bum anybody out, but I've had a lot of concussions, a lot. And because of that, I suffer from something that the doctors call cerebral infarction. And what that basically means is I have a dead spot on my brain. It's not the end of the world, but it causes certain things to happen that wouldn't happen to a normal person. So I have a really, really incredible memory. It's one of my superpowers. There was a time, no joke, people, where you can ask, my brother Johnny has probably said this on the air before many times, but as a freshman in college, I memorized like 3/4 of the first chapter of Moby Dick as it's not a dare, but more of a bet. But anyway, to make a long story short, my memory has always been my superpower. It's going away. And that's just it happens to everybody at my age. It's happening to me at a much more accelerated rate. And the other thing is that it causes my ability to focus on two things at the same time, right? Even if I'm just going back and forth, it gets really, it causes me to do both things poorly as opposed to doing one well and one. I just do both of them bad. And if you all want to be really honest, if you watch last night's live feed and you watch it from a standpoint not of how much fun you had talking in the comment section or anything else, but if you rewatch last night's live feed and you just watch me, it was the worst product I've ever put out. Truthfully, it is the worst product that I have ever put out. There were times on last night's live feed where I literally forgot for a period of time that I was doing a live feed. If you watched it, you'd be able to tell. There was a point at which I sort of paused for a moment and I thought to myself, what am I doing? And I looked up and I thought I was filming, not live. And I actually started to lean forward to turn the camera off. And then I saw a name scroll up with a question and realized that, holy good Lord, I'm in the middle of a live feed. I didn't remember what I was talking about. And this is an affectation of cerebral infarction for a person my age. I had a lot of concussions, people, from my head hitting the ground hard from skiing. If you over rotate, I did backflips, right? You've probably seen the pictures. If you haven't, I'll figure out a way to post one. But I did backflips, and if you over rotated, you put your hands down, right? Obviously, so you don't hurt yourself with your back hitting. Well, when your arms go down, you dislocate both shoulders. You'll break this is new to you, cerebral infarction. It means a dead spot on the brain is what it means. And it chances are when I'm no longer alive, they will autopsy me and say that I had chronic traumatic encephalopathy, right? But I'm starting to think I have narcolepsy. Oh, is that right? Well, Joe, keep in mind that you've been doing meth for so long that now that you're not using a drug to keep you awake at all times, your body's gonna have to adjust to that, brother. That's that's something that you're going to have to adjust to be sure. So cerebral infarction, you can Google it, Raven. But I took so many concussions as I would over-rotate a back flip to keep from having to get shoulder surgery every time you did it. They would train you to go like this and cross your arms. That way you wouldn't damage your shoulders. But what would happen is your back would hit the snow and your head would hit. And it's called counter coup, right? My head would hit the snow. My brain would come back in the fluid, right? Protected by the fluid around the brain. And then it would come forward. And when it comes forward, that's where you get the concussion. And I would get it in the front part of my brain. And if you put me onto a scan, you will see that there's just a dark spot. And it's, infarction is the death of tissue, usually caused by lack of oxygen or lack of oxygenated blood getting to a part of the brain or part of anything. You can have infarction, myocardial infarction. You can have infarction in a lot of different places in the body. It just refers to tissue dying. I have cerebral infarction. So I'm going to get worse over time. It is what it is. But when I first got diagnosed with this, they were talking about early onset dementia, and they were talking about a lot of really frightening things. I think I've told the story in here before that I spent more than 30 days on suicide watch. That was the diagnosis that put me on suicide watch. When I got the diagnosis in prison, they were talking about, 7 or 8 years and, having to use a diaper and just terrifying stuff. And, I had said out loud that I was not planning on hurt my neck. Brain scan is good though. Brain scan's good. That's awesome. And I'll tell you, do you like brain scans? Isn't that fun when they put that contrast in there and you feel like your head's going to explode? There's two kinds, right? Or there may even be more than two kinds, but the two that I'm familiar with is you have what's the equivalent of an MRI for the head, right? That's your magnetic resonance imagery. And then you have the topography, the PET scan versus the CAT scan. And for the PET, they have to put this liquid in and you get this burn. For those of you who spent a ton of time in the drug world, did you ever do Rush, that little stuff they used to sell, liquid incense, and right? That's what it feels like for about 15 minutes. Just that terrible burning and, sort of head rush thing. It was awful. It was absolutely awful. That's my biggest issue, taking care of myself, but I can't take care of anyone if I'm dead. That's right, my friend. I need to make a doctor appointment and get a full workup. Yes, did everybody hear that? So that you can lean on Saigon Cinnamon if he tells us in a couple of weeks that he hasn't done that. Saigon, get to the doctor. I do it, and I hate doctors, but I always go to them. So everybody, let's take care of yourselves. We are all here to take care of one another, but you do have to take care of yourselves. Make sure that you put the mask on. Oh, do you know what just happened? I'll tell you what just happened, people. Somebody just bought a Saigon Cinnamon sweatshirt, t-shirt, or something. It pops up on the screen. And people, it's I get so excited every time one of those gets sold. And if you've ever researched something like Bonfire, it's not about the person who puts the campaign together getting rich, especially if the person who puts the campaign together decides to give one or two of these away. If that happens, then you're not even going to break even. But that wasn't the purpose of the shirts. The purpose of the shirts was to bring us together and have continuity. And it was the coolest slogan ever. I mean, I remember honestly like it was yesterday when Saigon wrote it. And I looked there and said, never quit quitting. Oh my God, that needs to be on a t-shirt. I mean, so many people said that all at once. Boy, does that need to be on a t-shirt. That I really am glad. Raven, you're getting a PET scan too. Oh, they're not fun, hun. They really aren't. But, back to me interacting with you guys. I'm going to interact with you, but there are going to be some people who pick questions and send them over to me. Because if not, I can become like a squirrel and I start answering 3 things at the same time. And if that starts to happen, the next thing that happens, Brian, is that all of a sudden I can't literally remember what I'm doing and I can't think. Watch last night's live feed. It was just completely awful. 357 says, your favorite sports team or player? Oh, I'm going to bum you out and you're just going to hate me now. But I gave up on it. I gave up on sports across the board. I did. Isn't that awful? I used to be a real serious sports fanatic. New York Giants fan, primarily. I was a big Giants fan. And never missed a football game. I used to go to stadiums. I used to go and see ball games everywhere. And I don't want to get into an argument and I don't want to sound political because I told you I don't do politics from the front of the room. But I saw a picture of a black gentleman in full, military regalia, right? He had his medals and he had all of the things that he had won in serving the country. And he was standing there and he had the one arm that he had that was still intact was like this. The other arm was metal and both legs were metal, but he had walked out and he was on the sideline of a football game while they were playing the national anthem. And he is standing there with no legs, only one arm, and saluting the flag while 25 guys were taking a knee next to him. And I said to the person I was sitting next to, I have watched my last football game. That's it. I'm done. How anybody could stand or kneel next to a man that had given everything he had for the country. I mean, I understand the political views and all of that, but if you're a guy that's making $2 million a year or $5 million a year or $10 million a year, go and take care of yourself. Go put up and do something charitable in your hometown. Start being the solution. Taking a stand on national TV in a way that literally does this kind of thing to our veterans who are in the same stadium. I couldn't do it, people. I couldn't do it. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that, but I couldn't do it. And I'm not a hater. I don't hate black people. I don't hate anybody. I don't even hate the people who are on a daily basis putting up videos saying that they hope that I die with a needle in my arm. I don't hate anybody. I don't have time for it. But I no longer watch football, and that was really the sport that I loved. And then when my father passed away, that was something that I really shared primarily with my dad. But the way I grew up, if when I was working as a public speaker, I was flying constantly. And if I saw a guy in a uniform get on a plane, I gave up my first class seat to him because I'm a piece of crap. And this guy is literally put his life on the line so that I can be that piece of crap. So I would hand over my seat. And that was just sort of the way we were raised. If I'm walking through an airport and I see a couple of guys that are getting ready to get on a plane in their military service, I'm going to stop. I'm going to walk up to them and I'm going to thank them for what they did, because those people are my heroes. My heroes wear olive drab camo. My heroes, don't wear football jerseys anymore, and it's sad because I really, really used to dig it. Yay! I figured it out and I ordered a T-shirt. James Patrick, good for you, my brother. Because I'm telling you, a day is coming, people. Oh, and I see squirrel, 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 squirrel. And I didn't want to bum you out with my answer, man. I really didn't. My team had always been the New York Giants, but my heroes wore military uniforms. Those are the people that, and I felt like, people say you have a right to free speech. You absolutely have a right to free speech, but your boss has a right to say to you, you can't yell the N-word at my place of employment. Correct? This is where I pay you to work. You can't say the N-word. You can't come in here wearing the F-bomb across your shirt because this is where you work. Well, the NFL had the right to say that to everybody. You can protest, you can do whatever you want, but you stand up for the people that died for this country. That's all they had to say. And I'll tell you something. They took a hit when I quit. They took a hit because I wasn't just a fan. I spent money. I bought jerseys. I went to stadiums. I went to games. But they lost me. And it wasn't just me. They took a very severe hit. But growing up, I was football was the sport. That was the one I was really, really into. Oculi Mortis says, how about they go and join the military? Every once in a while, one did, Oculi, and those people were really my heroes. Pat Tillman, what a story that cat was, right? And, the way he left the planet was sad. But Pat Tillman, he was an NFL player that said, yeah, well, I'd rather go fight right now. I mean, holy mackerel, the kind of... Ted Williams, there you go, man, the splendid splinter. Now you're talking. Look, I could do this with you all day long. There was a period of time in this world where heroes were heroes for real, right? Ted Williams, another guy that went and took care of business on both fields, right? And when I look back, I can still talk sports, but I just can't talk sports of today. I couldn't tell you the name of one quarterback anymore. I couldn't. But also to bring everything full circle. The whole cerebral infarction thing, I really need to do everything I can to keep my brain working in a specific way, right? The NBA ratings plummeted last year and the NFL's ratings plummeted. Everybody did, and it's crazy. Joe Louis was your hero. You know something? No problem with Joe Louis. I met Muhammad Ali and spent actually a decent period of time hanging out with the guy. I did a charity. Johnny met him as well. We got to spend time. I don't know if Johnny ever told those stories on Chase the Heat or not, but we got to spend. There's a guy named Tom Brady. He's still playing football. Tom Brady is still playing football. Anyone that likes boxing, look up Joe Louis. Yeah, or Rocky Marciano. That was another one from boxing that was just. And I got into MMA for a while, but when I first started watching MMA, there was a level of respect that used to flip my switch. You know what I mean? The guys would go in there, and when a fight was over, they would go over and just the respect level between the two of them. I've been watching that change. I really have been. I've been kind of watching that change. I don't know. I feel like you're an old man when you start talking about the good old days, and that you've become your father when you say things like, well, the music of today isn't music, and all of those. Hoist Gracie, thank you, my friend. Back in the day, right? Back when it was the Ultimate Fighting, it wasn't really UFC. It was just the Ultimate Fighting. But I feel like as a society as as a whole, we have just gotten to a point where we have changed, and it's gotten sad for me. I don't like where this. I don't like the direction that the country is going in. I don't like the direction that the world is going in. There was a time in this country where you wouldn't dream of saying F the president. And I'll tell you what, I don't care whether or not you like the president or you don't like the president. We're not going to talk about, Blockbuster Marciano. Never lost a fight. I'm not talking politics. I'm not. Because I don't care which side you're on, and we're not going to do that because we don't do it here. But it's essential for what I'm trying to say right now. But there was a time in this country where you would never dream of saying out loud, F the president, right? At the Academy Awards, when Trump was in office, Robert De Niro went up at the Academy Awards and yelled over and over again, F Donald Trump, F Donald Trump, and that's acceptable. That's cool now as a society. And then at this NASCAR race a few weeks back, they're chanting over and over again, F Joe Biden, F Joe Biden, F Joe Biden. Look, I don't care which side of the spectrum you're on. I wasn't happy when they did it to Trump, and I wasn't happy when they did it to Biden. I don't care that you think that, right? We've been thinking that since the 50s. But you wouldn't have dreamed of saying it out loud or in the press or God forbid, at the Academy Awards. I mean, how about let's go Brandon, right? How about a little bit of class, And words mean things, right? Words mean things. And this trickles down. Believe it trickles down. Every day now, things have just changed. I was listening to the radio yesterday, and it was a talk radio show, and somebody said something about, I've been really blessed to be where I'm at right now. And the guy who was on the line with him, who was another talk show host, said, well, you may be blessed, but, you really worked your ass off. He said like 10 times, you worked your ass off. I mean, I remember a time where you couldn't have said that on the radio. And it may sound really insignificant to you, but it's a slippery slope. It's once we start civility, right? Being civil to one another. Once it starts going away, where does it stop, right? Look up the videos of actors and sports figures that served before they were famous. Many of them were my fellow Marines. Oh, people, Oculi is one of our heroes. So I have a massive amount of respect for anybody that served their country. I really do. And in this day and age, once again, there are people out there who, I have been to prison. I spent a lot of my life running and hiding from the police. I wouldn't want to defund them, and I wouldn't want to hate them. You know how many cops have been shot in the last couple of weeks? Oculi is a legend. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I only have one problem with Oculi Mortis, and it has to do with the number of wheels the man uses on his transportation. I mean, he's a smart guy. I've been reading his comments now for a year, and he's a super intelligent guy. Very funny. He's had some really, really funny comments over the time that I've known him. But I mean, even like cavemen, from the time they came up with the wheel thing, nobody ever thought you were only supposed to use one of them. You know what I'm saying? They kind of balance out. You do 2, not bad. 3, a little bit stronger. 4, that's the way to go. Oculi, however, for whatever reason, is continuing to try to get around on 1. You know what? Thank you, all you veterans. Absolutely. And I don't care what capacity you served in. Thank you, and God bless all of you, because while I was out acting like a jackass, these people were fighting so that I could do that. And that's, and you know what? Even for the people that, were never deployed, you don't know when you sign up for the military, whether or not you're going to be. You still take that risk, and you still, wear that uniform. I have a tremendous amount of respect for anyone who does that. And that's a long about, end around story as to why I no longer watch a whole lot of professional sports. Believe it or not, I still dig watching hockey. I still dig watching anything that people do. That's technology trying to kick us. Yeah, balancing. Sorry, people. Yeah, see, perfect example. My mind literally just shut down. I have no idea what I was talking about. But on the bright side, since we already discussed it, I don't feel bad mentioning that I have no idea what I'm talking about. And I can move on from there. I will continue to interact with the audience. I will have some screeners that pick that pick the questions and send them over to me, so that as opposed to looking at white noise of 10 different conversations going on, it'll just pop up as a question. Once I am more settled, I will get a shirt. Okay, Miss V. Okay. No pressure, I promise you. And we're praying for you that number one, you settle, and number 2, that from this point on, every man you meet treats you the way that you ought to be treated. Thank you, shipmates, and our other shipmates. I'll tell you what, man. People, it's I sit and I complain about the state of our country. Motley Crue singer Vince Neil breaks ribs after falling off stage. Sorry to hear that. I talk about the society being in a decline, and I talk about the world being in a decline, and I talk about how social media just becomes a weapon, and there are people that are just, honestly, people on a day-to-day basis. The number of emails and messages I get of people who tell me that they hope I die. That's pretty rugged. That's pretty awful stuff, especially considering that all I am doing is um, all I'm doing is trying to help people, you know. So, but when I sit and complain about this, you know, unfortunately, very often I'm complaining to the, you know, I'm preaching to the choir, because the truth is, this is a very positive group of people that have assembled here, and you know, when I'm talking to you all, it's I want to be careful to not lecture somebody that doesn't need to be lectured. Now, that being said, people, uh, we had a couple of people talking about, pardon me, about how there was some relapse. There were some people that have had some stumbles. Sorry, and those, you know, those conversations took place in the chat on the way up. Obviously, you know, the crazy uncle was feeling pretty upset about the fact that he had slipped, and the other you know, the other gentleman that had reached out to me was the seventh son, who had apparently, this was discussed in the comment section of the live feed, so it's not something I had heard other people talking about it. I didn't see it when it was happening, and he approached me. I didn't want to go to him because I don't want to look like I'm dad, you know, showing up and going, so you went drinking, huh? I mean, that's it's not what this is about. It's never going to be about that. It's not what it's supposed to be about. So what happened is, you know, he found a airplane bottle, and you're all familiar with airplane bottles. It's a shot, you know, maybe a shot and a half, and he drank it, and ended up, you know, vomiting because of it, and was very, very upset at himself for what he did, and, you know, for the fact that he relapsed. Um, Here's the deal. He didn't relapse. He slipped. He stumbled, and he took a drink of alcohol. But in my opinion, and you guys can correct me or disagree with me on this if you want, but in my opinion, that's you know, a relapse is when you get back to the life. What he did was stumble, and he caught himself amazingly, you know, and caught himself at one shot, and has been beating himself up over it. I said to him, I don't want to see this really start to wear on you to the point where you say, you know, I screwed up, I relapsed. Screw it. What? Who cares now? May as well go, right? I already blew it. I got no sobriety. I think you really need to concentrate on the fact that it was a misstep. You didn't lose your sobriety. You didn't, right? You got right back up. It was a misstep. And for that reason, I want to make sure that we make a conscious effort, people, at all times, and I mean at all times, to have our default setting be support. That to me is absolutely essential, because we're going to be coming across people who are going to stumble. It's one of those things. We're fooling ourselves if we think that every single person who gets on the boat is going to hit it out of the park and is going to remain sober and never have a misstep. Quite simply, people, that's not the norm. In fact, that is the exception to the rule. For the most part, everybody, you know, goes through ups and downs and goes through missteps and things of that nature. And it's important to me that we make sure that we treat those people with the utmost respect. I also want to say something else. If you have come across Cody English, I have owned both, 1800 for the XR and 9C, and he's still doing it, people. It's not that he just, you know, he went and had some surgery to fix the thing, and, you know, 4 wheels Oculi, 4 wheels. People, I would like to make another suggestion, and I think that this keeps the ship going smooth, right? We have had, there have been periods of times where discussions come up in the comment section that cause division. Yes? People understand? Okay. If you have taken part in a conversation that has caused division in the comment section, don't bring that subject up again. Safe, right? Respectful, safe. I've stumbled since I found the boat, but I have 7 days today and I'm feeling good. Brian, congratulations, my friend. Stumbling happens. We don't beat people up for it. We congratulate you when you get back up. It's really about first time here with you all. This would be, people, do you see we have a new crew member on the boat, and it went by so fast that I didn't get the name. Um, People, we have a first-time crew member on the boat. Please, could we get a hello? Was that? It was Denise, wasn't it? Denise, welcome to the lifeboat. I can't tell you how happy we are that you are here. Excellent. Yeah. So, people, as I was saying, we want to make sure that our default setting is kindness. And Brian, you're going to stumble. Hopefully it's your last time. This is not. I'm not giving you a permission slip for everybody on here to go. I can go out and get a few. Your sobriety is your sobriety. I honestly, what I'm here to do is support you along the way and do anything I can to encourage the crew to do everything they can to always be here for you. That's really the goal. But at no point am I going to to become your principal, right? Your high school principal, and I'm not going to become your dad, and I'm not going to become a cop. The thing in the world that I want to do. Miss V says the only sports I watch is wrestling. Hold on one second here. I'm a jerk, so I'd be asked for forgiveness beforehand. Cody, I don't know you well enough to let you do to call yourself a jerk. Every one of us has moments that we look back on and think maybe that wasn't my best moment. And then every once in a while there are learning times where people go through a learning curve, but I don't. I don't know. I don't want you beating yourself up. Arizona Raven says, Cody, we love you. Cody, if we didn't love you, right? I mean, this is, it's a pretty simple process. I go over here, I hit 3 buttons, and you never back, right? If we didn't love you, you wouldn't be here, right? Everybody makes mistakes. People stumble. People say things they shouldn't say. Everybody makes mistakes. I have. If you've been watching the lifeboat long enough, you've heard me have to come on here and apologize for things that I've said multiple times. I feel like I'm trading my alcohol addiction for the lifeboat addiction. Well played. I'm telling you, if you're gonna swap one addiction for another, this is a pretty good one, right? This really is a good one. Denise, if this is your first time here, I'm not exactly sure how you got here, how you found us, but it's a pretty simple concept that we have here. We have a 2-part goal on the lifeboat. Hey, good to see you. We have, our goal is twofold. Number one, we would like to change how the world views addicts, because addicts in this country are throwaways. All of the other people on the boat right now have heard this 7,000 times, but since you're new here, they're going to hear it 7,001 times. We're going to lose 190 people today in the United States on average. 190 a day are going to die of drug overdoses. Do that 2 days in a row, and that's the number of people that would be in the largest 747 that we fly, aircraft in the U.S. If every other day a 747 crashed into the ground, the government would freak out. They would stop air travel. They would do whatever had to be done to protect the American citizen. But they don't care if 190 junkies die every other day. Every day. They don't care. We are throwaways. And the people in the real world will tell you that they support you. If you say I'm a year sober, they'll go, "Oh, good for you." Don't tell anyone. Your sister's coming over. We don't need to discuss it. You know what I mean? I'm glad you're sober, but let's not talk about it. Here on the lifeboat, we celebrate people's victories. We're here to congratulate people who are fighting the good fight. It's a very, very important thing that there are people who care, and that the people who are around you know what you're going through. That's why we call this the lifeboat, because everyone here is in the same boat, and it doesn't matter what your habit or your drug of choice is. And I say habit because you can be addicted to gambling, you could be addicted to work, you could be addicted to pornography or sex or anything else. But the components of what makes us all the same is the second component of addiction. The first component, it would be the mechanism, right? I'm a heroin addict. I'm a recovering heroin addict. I've been sober for going on 6.5 years. I'm also a convicted bank robber. I went to prison and paid my debt to society. And while I was in there, got sober and really sort of turned my life in the direction that I was going to spend the rest of my time on this planet fighting drug war, but fighting it from a different approach. And I started the lifeboat for that reason. But we're all in the same boat. For me, it was heroin, right? That's the first part of the addiction. The second part is the reward center in your brain begins to reward you for doing things that you shouldn't do. So as a heroin addict, when I went and bought the drugs, or I went and stole to get the drugs, or any of the things that I did, within that life of being a heroin addict, that little center of my brain said, here, and started releasing endorphins and other feel-good chemicals to reward me for bad behavior. And that's the difference between a person that can have 7 drinks a day for 4 years and then go, I'm done, and a person who every day for 7 years does the same thing, and when they go to quit, they can't. What's the difference? One person has willpower, one person doesn't? No. The difference is that there is a chemical thing that's going on in the brain of the addict that says, ooh, you're doing the right thing, you're doing the right thing, you're doing the right thing. Every time you do the wrong thing, you stick a needle in your arm and your brain says, yes, that's what you're supposed to be doing. Right there, that's what you're supposed to be doing. Here, have some feel-good chemicals. And one of the things that we teach here is that you have to rewire your brain, and you can. Tell you a story, people. The reason that I'm not dressed like it's my normal Saturday attire, I look like Casual Friday. The reason that I'm dressed in scrappy clothes is because I have a neighbor who is a gentleman that I would say is in his 60s, late 60s, maybe early 70s, and he's building a deck on his the back porch, and a beautiful deck, by the way, great deck. But he's getting to a part that is a difficult part with cuts and angles, and I heard about it, and he very long boards, very heavy boards, and so I went over there and decided that I would go and help out. And a really funny thing happened when I did. That reward center of my brain sent down chemicals that actually made me feel good for going over there and spending 2 or 3 hours helping this guy work on his deck. It can be done. It really can. Hey, DJ Daddy O, good to see you. But it can be done, people. It's just a matter of building new connections. Denise, one of the other things that I believe here, very wholeheartedly is, if you say, what's the difference between addiction, most people will say sobriety, right? Like that word association thing. The opposite of addiction, sobriety. I don't necessarily believe that. I believe the opposite of addiction is connected. I think when you're an addict, you're alone. You could be alone in a room of 75 people drinking, but you're alone. There is no way. I appreciate everything you do, my brother. Keep it up, Tommy. Thank you, Cody. I appreciate you. It's building connections is really what the difference between people who remain sober and the people who don't. And I mean building new connections in terms of friendships, in terms of jobs, in terms of places, in terms of passion, in terms of hobbies, right? Because when I was a heroin addict, I had one hobby, stealing. I'm not being funny. My life was heroin. My hobby was stealing things to get heroin. But I eliminated God, I eliminated friends, I eliminated love, I eliminated everything in my life for heroin. Now, if all I did was stop using heroin, I still had eliminated all of those things. And all of the memories I had were directly related to that drug and the things that I did with that drug. So I had to start from scratch, and I had to start making different connections with different people, right? So now, my friends, my second family, all of these people on the boat, I've built connections with all of these people, and I bend over backwards to be here to support them in every way I can. And a funny thing happens. They do the same thing. The number of people who just shoot me an email every day that says, hey, I'm pulling for you and I love you, is just astounding. It really means, it means a lot to me. Is that Yo-Yo 420666666? Good to see you. Tommy, you hit the nail on the head. I always used to say I'm alone even in a room full of people. Absolutely, Saigon. You are alone regardless of how many people you're with, because the nature of the drug doesn't want you to have friends. Friends will get in the way of you doing the drugs. The drug wants to own you in its entirety. Addiction wants only one thing to matter, and that is addiction. And it really becomes one of those situations where you have to start building connections at a different level. You have to start building friendships at a different level. Like for me, when I got sober, I had a brand new mission in life. right? My mission was heroin. My mission was heroin, always, for decades. That was my mission. My mission became this right here. This thing right here, right? You people, the boat, this became the most important thing to me. And, I'm not, hello, fellow recovering addicts, Heat 101, good to see you. I am not, I don't go dates. I don't go out. I don't, like I said, I don't watch sports. This is really my main focus in life has become the lifeboat. Chi Chi. Oh, you know what? Chi Chi, it is so good to see you. Unfortunately, I am seeing you literally right at the 1 hour, the top of the hour. People, I literally have to walk out the door. Chi Chi, apparently I gave you the wrong time zone. I went live at 3 o'clock. I guess, sorry guys, I was in trouble finding a mouse. Well, hopefully you found Sneaky. I hope that that's the case. People, I have reached the 1 hour mark. I'm sorry, Chi Chi, I really am. I've reached the 1 hour mark. I am going to be going live again this evening. It's going to be at 9 o'clock. I did give you the right one. Good, because I was starting to feel horrible. Denise, you are in Mississippi. Heat 101 says, hi, Bent. All right, my fellow crewmates, unfortunately, I literally have to go out the door. I'm going to be helping this gentleman finish up. Sneaks has still evaded me. You put the time in and didn't get him, Chi Chi? Oh, no. Oh, no, that's awful. Set the sail for smooth sailing. I promise, people, here's the deal. We are going to, I said, here's the deal. Now I owe Fiona 25 cents. I will pay her 50 cents. Here's the deal. I'm going to be going live again tonight, people, at 9 o'clock. Seventh Son, if you did not hear this entire live feed, you need to go back and listen to it because I was talking directly to you earlier. Yes, take care, everybody. It is Saturday night. I will be up here at 9. He's hiding under my step. I'm sorry, Chi Chi. But hey, you know what? At least you're not trying to kill him, so there's that. Brian Michael says, smash that like button. Oculi Mortis, love you. Denise, welcome. Please continue to come back. Cody English, good to see you. Heat 101, Saigon, James Patrick. Did I miss anybody? I know I missed Raven, right? Damnable autocorrect. Yes, autocorrect is awful. Oculi Mortis. Oculi, still a hero of mine, my brother. You really are. All right, people. I am Captain Tommy Scoville. You are on the lifeboat. Leisure 7772. Good to see you. Kiss Freak. Alan Ballantyne. You know I love you, Alan. DJ Daddy O. Yes, good to see you. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville. This is the lifeboat. Between now and the next time that I see you, which is going to be at about 9 o'clock tonight, right? You know what you're supposed to do, right? What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? Get out there and try to save somebody. Never quit quitting. Talk to you soon. I'm out of here.